is the woman, the professional, behind our every Thursday night virtual support group. These support groups are completely free. Mona has been with us as a volunteer because she cares about you. Mona has been a life coach and a health and wellness coach in a private practice for the past 6 years, helping people resolve issues in life that show up in relationships, finances, careers, and health that often occur as the result of past traumas and addictions. In the past 2 years, Mona has also worked as a crisis counselor for a national employee assistance program, often providing support and assistance to people who are contemplating suicide. Prior to that, she's had a full-time private practice as a therapist, working with individuals, families, and groups, providing a diverse range of mental and behavioral health treatment services, addressing anxiety, depression, trauma, addictions, codependency, and even eating disorders. She has more than 6 years of experience providing support for anxiety and depression to military members, which we are so passionate about, including active duty, retired, and their dependents. So Mona, welcome to the summit, and thank you for all that you do.
Thank you, Kim. It's my great pleasure to be working with you and Katie's mission to help stamp out stigma and get conversations going around mental health and death by suicide. I invite you as our participants to join me every Thursday evening at 9 p.m. Eastern Time for a virtual support experience where we talk about mental health concerns, mindfulness, and suicide prevention. Sometimes one person shows up, sometimes multiple people. In any event, we always have a great conversation and we offer support and accountability. I look forward to seeing you there this Thursday. So I got into the mental health field because of my own recovery journey from multiple traumas, including physical, sexual, and emotional abuse that started when I was a toddler. I was raped at the age of 13 and then experienced domestic violence, not only during my parents' marriage, but during my first 3 marriages. And then in 1989, I was passively suicidal and daydreamed often about ways to end my life. My first active attempt, though, was when I was 8 years old. I swallowed a whole bottle of baby aspirin, put a plastic bag over my head from the dry cleaners, went to bed, pulled the covers over my head, and waited to die. The first psychiatrist I told that story to began to laugh so hard. Then he told me that while I was trying to kill myself, I was also saving my life because aspirin causes hyperventilation and breathing into a bag is the remedy. So needless to say, that attempt didn't work, and neither did any of the following attempts. And then other traumas included several car accidents. The last one was in 1999. And by the way, car accidents are the #1 cause of trauma in the United States. But I believe that's because childhood abuse isn't easily tracked as car accidents. And then after car accidents comes any type of accidents, including motorcycles, bicycles, injuries from falls at home or at work, any type of medical event or medication reaction where you're at risk of death or injury. So what is trauma? It's witnessing, experiencing, or perceiving a horrific, terrifying event where you are afraid that you or someone else or something else is at risk of injury or death. So Google defines trauma as a deeply distressing or disturbing experience or event, like the personal experience or the personal trauma we experience at losing a child. And then in medical terms, it's physical injury, such as what might be caused in any type of accident. A traumatic event causes physical, emotional, spiritual, and psychological harm. The person experiencing the distressing event may feel physically threatened or extremely frightened as a result of what's happening. And when bad things happen, it can take a while to get over the pain and feel safe again. And some people never feel completely safe again. Symptoms of trauma can be diagnosed as PTSD, and result from the past disturbing experiences that continue to cause distress because the memory was not adequately processed. These unprocessed memories are understood to contain the emotions, the thoughts, beliefs, and physical sensations that occurred at the time of the event. When these memories are triggered, the stored disturbing elements of those memories are experienced and cause the symptoms that we know as PTSD, anxiety, depression, and other disorders. Trauma often inhibits our relationships with our family, friends, partners, and colleagues. It holds us back from being at our best in social and professional situations and can impact our health in a variety of ways. There is even research that shows that people who experienced adverse childhood events, or otherwise known as abuse or trauma, abandonment or neglect, that they are at higher risk of chronic illnesses as they age in life. And so as a trauma therapist in the past and now a trauma coach, because I really like the coach approach, I have a unique way to help people discover what's causing them to be held back from being at their best, what's blocking them, what's keeping them from experiencing joy, success, and freedom in their lives, their relationships, their career, and their health. And so I encourage you, if you are not feeling like you're achieving at your best or being your best self, contact me. You can either reach me by phone at 502-451-MONA or my website. It's resolveitcoaching.com. And so you might be wondering, what are the symptoms of trauma? And what are the causes? So a lot of people think that if you haven't been in combat or battle, that you couldn't possibly experience trauma or PTSD, and that's just not true. If you are alive, you've probably experienced a traumatic experience at least once in your life. It doesn't become diagnosable unless it's causing you problems in various areas like anxiety, depression. Relationships is the number one place that trauma shows up, and then your professional life and physical health. So if you're not sure whether or not you've experienced trauma, think about was growing up in an unstable or unsafe environment? Were you separated from a parent? Did the parent experience a serious illness, including anxiety or depression or their own trauma? Because that keeps them from being emotionally and psychologically available to a child's needs. Did you as a child or during your lifetime experience a serious illness, any intrusive medical procedures, any type of injury, any type of abuse, witness or experience domestic violence, or any type of abandonment or neglect? And then there's also emotional and mental abuse. A lot of arguments, a lot of things are said that are negative and berating to an individual, and especially a child. This can be very harmful. And then they often grow up to marry someone who continues that pattern of emotional and mental abuse. So just remember that experiencing trauma at any point in your life can cause severe and long-lasting effects. If it's not resolved, a sense of fear and helplessness carries over into adulthood and sets the stage for further trauma. Even if the trauma happened many years ago, there are still steps that you can take with a professional like myself to overcome the pain and to learn to trust and connect to others again and regain your sense of emotional balance and safety and well-being. So, symptoms would include shock, denial, disbelief, confusion, difficulty concentrating, anger, irritability, mood swings. And by the way, a lot of people who are diagnosed with ADHD or ADD often don't respond well to the medications prescribed for that. And that's because it's not true ADD. It is probably a result of trauma, because as anxiety goes up, memory, learning and attention goes down. So keep in mind that if you're experiencing anxiety, fear, phobias, have intense guilt, shame, or self-blame, and you're not sure where it came from, it's just always been there. If you withdraw from others, have social anxiety or awkwardness, have long-term sadness, hopelessness, worthlessness, feeling disconnected or numb, experiencing nightmares, difficulty sleeping, chronic fatigue, being startled easily, hypervigilant, always watchful, difficulty concentrating, racing heartbeat, edginess and agitation, aches and pains, muscle tension. Wow, that's a long list of symptoms. And if you're experiencing more than 2 of those, I would highly recommend that you contact a professional who is trauma informed. And I would love the opportunity to get on a call with you and see if trauma might be part of what you are experiencing. And I can tell you that if you have anxiety or depression that's been diagnosed and treated, if you have underlying trauma, medication and treatment that's not trauma directed probably will not do much to relieve your symptoms of anxiety and depression, because the trauma is what's driving it, unresolved trauma. So again, I look forward to seeing you Thursday nights for the virtual support group for Katie's Mission.